Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. So the great heavyweight vacuum cleaner, Frank Warren, has signed himself another guy, yet another big lad, in the form of the former WBO cruiserweight and WBC bridgerweight champion, Lawrence Okolie. Now, a few people said in my comment section of a previous video I did about Okolie, the fact that he was ranked number 5 with the WBC. They said, well, Warren will probably pick him up, and sure enough, you've proven right. Well done, all you little Nostradamuses. And I suppose when you consider that Okolie does have that number 5 ranking, which is absolutely ludicrous that he should hold a position in the heavyweight division when he's not even thrown a punch as a heavyweight, never mind in the top 10, but because he held the bridgerweight title, for whatever that's worth, it's a title no one has ever defended successfully. 2 of the 3 people who've held it have given it up. But it got Okolie the ranking, and ultimately it's got him this Queensbury contract. And Okolie has said, you know, I'm delighted because, Queensbury is the place to be as far as heavyweights are concerned. Warren's glad to have him on board. But I did say in reply to a couple of the commentators on the previous video, I said, if you want my opinion, considering the age he is, the size he is, and the fact that he has been unbelievably dull in many of his fights previously, and looked, to be honest with you, he's looked absolutely gun-shy, completely gun-shy. I think if Warren does sign him up, he'll be used as food for the likes of, I don't know, Atama. Well, Dubois got a belt, isn't he, now? So he won't be interested in fighting Okolie. Maybe a few of those others. I mean, I know that Warren has got a Ukrainian heavyweight whose name escapes me. He signed him up, amateur guy, about 29, 30 years old. I can't remember the guy's name. I mean, okay, you know, the amount of heavyweights, you know, how about Okolie versus Wardley? That's been mentioned quite strongly as a possible fight. That would be an interesting matchup. But, of course, Warren could have this little, you know, round robin of, crossing over. You fight him, he fights him, and then you fight each other, and the winners fight each other, and the losers fight each other. And he can have his own little in-house heavyweight tournament now. And there aren't many of these guys that aren't that far off being, you know, world-class. Even, I mean, someone like Moses Atama is going to be world-class if he isn't already. He's just got to get the experience and, you know, pick up a bit of a few more rounds under the belt maybe, but he's absolutely flying, and he's got a terrific fight coming up with Dempsey McKean, which is definitely a step up. But where does Okolie fit into all of this? I would say they'll probably go down the Wardley route, match him up with Wardley. Wardley is yet another Queensbury heavyweight. Derek Chisora is still in the mix, you know, 150 years old or whatever he is. You've still got Joe Joyce floating around. I mean, there are many different permutations of heavyweight matchups just within the Queensbury stable. And when you consider, let's not forget Tyson Fury, of course, is still, even if he loses to Usyk in the rematch, he's still a name. I mean, when you consider where Frank Warren was 10 years ago, absolutely in the doldrums, being ridiculed openly by Eddie Hearn, who was still flying with Sky. And now look at him. I mean, can you think of another promoter in the world that's got a better heavyweight stable? Because I can't. I think it's a comeback. As usual, it's a comeback from Frank Warren, the man who has been bankrupted and, you know, shot and lost half a lung and, you know, sued successfully by Don King back in the 90s for, I want to say, 9 million quid or thereabouts, you know, which might not sound much now, but £9 million was a lot of money back then. You know? This guy is, even in his 70s, he's a handful, Warren. And regardless of whether you like him or not, and I don't particularly like him. Well, I certainly wouldn't trust him, my God, no. But he's a survivor, he's a battler, and he's a scrapper. And he is a boxing man. He does understand boxing. And yeah, you know, he talks a lot of old shite a lot of the time. But let's be honest, they all do, don't they? When would you trust any promoter? The first thing I would do if I was a pro boxer is get a very, very reputable lawyer. So whoever I signed with, if I could sign with anyone, if anyone wanted to sign me and I had some talent, they'd be reading that small print, going through it with a fine tooth comb, because you can never be certain about what's in those contracts. You have to be absolutely really on the money being the operative word. So let's hope that Okolie, I mean, I don't imagine he was, being inundated with offers, but as he's moved to heavyweight and given up the Bridgerweight title, I was hoping he'd fight Kevin Lorraine. I think that would have been a pretty decent fight. Or maybe Riakporhe at Bridgerweight. Riakporhe will be the next one. I wouldn't be surprised if Warren signs him up as well. Although, is he still with Boxer? Having lost to Brilliam Smith, he'll probably go up to heavyweight, won't he? Or Bridgerweight at least. And it'll probably be another one of these, Bridgerweight champions who gives it up without making a successful defence. But I don't know. But yeah, Warren is the king of the heavyweight promoters at the moment. I can't see anyone out there who's better than him. And poor old Eddie Hearn, when you compare and contrast, like I was saying 10 years ago, he was ruling the roost and Frank was completely out of sorts. Who's Eddie got in the heavyweight division? Johnny Fisher? Johnny Fisher's a decent domestic level fighter. He's probably could win a British title maybe. Got Joshua, who's shop-worn goods, to put it mildly. Who else has he got in? I can't think of him. Well, in the 5 versus 5, Hrgovic was am I right? Have I got that right? Hrgovic was on Hearn's team in the 5 versus 5, wasn't he? Because Dubois beat him. I don't know what his contractual situation is. I can't think of any other heavyweights. Hearn's got some talented fighters, but the heavyweight division has always been that glamour division. The middleweights, the welterweights have had their little look-ins, and they are terrific divisions too, but the heavyweights are kind of where it's at. It's kind of, they do say as the heavyweights go, so does boxing goes, and that hasn't always been true. Not always, but you would expect that when you consider the quality of the heavyweights, and there are some real quality heavyweights out there of all ages, you would think, well, this is clearly where the money is. We've just had that Dubois versus Joshua at 98,000 people at Wembley, and God knows how much money that generated. But anyway, what do you think of this? I mean, I find Okolie unbelievably dull to watch. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Can he make it as a heavyweight? He'll pick up maybe a bit more resiliency, a bit more power, perhaps a bit more confidence, maybe boil himself down to cruiser was really draining him, which made him gun-shy, reticent to throw punches and so on. I don't know. We'll see. The jury is obviously still out. He hasn't thrown a punch at heavyweight yet. So let me know what you think. As usual, comments below. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the like button and support the channel. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. All the shares of the videos you give, all the likes, all the subscriptions, it's all appreciated. Because like I've said before, if I made these videos and no one watched them, not a lot of point in doing it, is there? Just be like a sort of echo chamber. Anyway, the weekend's here. Have a good one. Much love. Catch you later. Bye for now.